Dear Father Spirit and Mother Earth, we thank you for waking us up today and allowing your divine energy and light to flow through our bodies and be able bodied and aware. We thank you for our families and for our homes right now. And we ask for your guidance through our sticky feelings and through our rough emotions. And even though we're showing up messy, we're still showing up for each other, showing up for God, showing up to our commitment for each other. And we ask that whoever joins us on this call today gets a little juicy nugget to take home and feel good and love and light expand from each of us. And we ask that Jesse gets this job. We ask that Michael's grandmother has a peaceful transition when the time comes, and that we ask for prayers over his family. We ask for prayers over Spencer and his family, Jesse and his family, and all that are joining us today. All this we ask. Amen.
Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you for that, Casey Hart.
Yeah. Whew. Sweaty. Oh, that's how I know.
Happy Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, random Tuesday, 4:00 type time. Real random. But we're showing up regardless of how it feels, because that's what commitment means. That's what discipline means. Is we say we're going to do something. That's what integrity means. We say we're going to do something, we do it. And it's very easy to make excuses and say we're going through too much. I'm the queen of going through too much, but definitely feels better to even just show up for a couple minutes now. And I know by the end of the call, we'll be thanking ourselves,
Following through on what you say you're going to do long after the feeling subsides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you lose that. It's like a momentum mojo. You will lose that motivation. And that's why you got to have that kind of commitment to yourself, and you can't overcommit to a lot of things because you would be spreading yourself too thin. I'm the queen. So even if you're just showing up messy, showing up different than you expected, usually there's a divine purpose for it. And personally, when it comes to like stress, I tend to get into fight mode. I'm not much of a freeze, and I'm not much of a flight. I fight. I get really angry. I get very irritable, and I'm ready to beat up anybody. I've never done it. Thank goodness. No, never hit anyone.
Okay.
It's literally on my bucket list. It says to punch someone in the face at least once and mean it, and then say you're sorry. Never solved a problem with violence so far.
Yeah, we may have won the fight, but we lost the battle. We may have lost the battle, but we won the war. Nobody wins a fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And a lot of people, I think, in a time right now are just feeling super overwhelmed. It's hard to kind of just ground and be still and have faith and trust that it's all going to be okay. That's very hard to convince the body, and that tends to make it a freeze. Gross. Nobody wants to feel that way. Yeah, no one wants to feel that way. So we always try to avoid it. Let's just avoid the bad feeling. But how do we know what good feels like without that?
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hot and cold. Good and bad.
Cold. Good and bad. It's duality. We live in a very duality kind of world. We have 2 hands, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 legs, lots of 2. Good, bad. We like to split everything as black, white, and the brain really likes to do that. That's what people don't realize, is that it's their brain trying to make sense in a duality field. But a lot of times our heart, that intuition, the knowing, is not in a duality. That one's just all one. It's just knowing. There is no duality.
The heart. So there's a scripture that says the heart is treacherous.
Ooh.
Have you heard that before?
I have heard that.
What resonates with you when you hear that?
I think because the heart can experience all of the feelings so safely, because it is the heart. It's going to feel treacherous. It's going to feel like danger because it's not been stepped before. And, when you're following your heart, listening to your heart, there's no roadmap. There's no syllabus. There's no thing that says here's exactly how it's going to go. So it's a path that's not walked. It's the one that no one does. So it's very treacherous, it's dangerous because it's risky, it's uncertain. It's sort of what's resonating because the brain wants to make sense with the five senses, be guaranteed a result, and be told that's a positive one, that your effort was worth it. So I think the brain likes to know that things are going to be great and good. And the heart is like, it may or may not, dude. We're just doing it anyway. So that's the treacherous part, the risk to following your heart. And it's so silly sounding, so cliche, but it's people that are following their heart that have no roadmap, and it's all crazy stoplights and crazy signs and hills and obstacles when doing things that make sense it's very clear. It makes sense. So it sounds like it's supposed to be a bad thing to follow your heart. It's treacherous, it's dangerous, it's risky. It sure is. I love it. Hi, Candace. Good to see you again, dear. Thanks for joining us again. Yay, you're here.
Hey, dear. Glad you're here with us. Hope you're having a great day today. I hope you enjoyed your coffee.
This is Landon's mother, right?
This is Landon's mama, yep.
All right, cool. I'm starting to remember everyone. Thanks for joining us, and let us know if anything resonates because we're just spitballing here.
I'm so grateful that I am living a life where I have a relationship with you the way that I do, Candace. And there was a time when her and I did a long period of time where we did not speak to each other. It was not friendly. It was not sweet. And we are so far removed from that way of being. It's really nice.
Well, that took both sides of you. That's not just one of y'all being the good and one of y'all being the bad. That took both of y'all saying, you know what, we're both a mess. Let's show up as our mess, and how do we get better?
Yeah.
Because we're just people. We're just humans. We have a lot of baggage, packages, and programs that are just a mess. Hi, Mr. Michael Hummel.
Michael Martin Hummel.
Hummel. Sorry for that. Mr. Hello, Father. I love that. That's your nickname. That's cute.
Mike has a podcast where he focuses on removing stigmas with those with disabilities.
Beautiful. Thank you for that kind of work. Definitely needs to be discussed more. That's really appreciative work you're doing. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us too. We're just spitballing here, so if anything resonates, let us know. We have no plan when we show up for this, which is kind of the plan. No plan.
Yeah, Mike, hope you're doing great, brother. God bless you, man.
Yes. But that's beautiful that you and Candace are here, and whether that's physical spaces or not, you're both there for Landon, which is the important part, is raising another human here, and what can we provide him in the best shape and form. And I really hope one day that my Michael and his, we'll call it baby mama, I can hope that they get to that point, because it's still 12 years and they have never been on one wavelength, not even once, not even the beginning. So
do you take care of the communication with her?
I used to, until she stopped communicating with me,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Big mess. It's all right. And now she's trying to keep Serenity from communicating with us too. She's trying to really keep her away from everyone. And it's very, very tough time right now.
That's awful.
Oh, big time awful. But I've been in her life since she was 9 months old. She's my stepdaughter. 9 months old, a year old. And so I've been handling and observing and playing my best role I can over a decade now. So I am very familiar with the patterns. I'm very familiar with how she responds. And there's just divine intervention with everything. There's not much I can control. And I just try to take care of the things I can control, which is providing a safe space and a safe home for her and her feelings. And those have becoming, they're getting louder and louder when they're 12. So I'm just providing that for her, that she has a very open communication with me when she's with us, especially with me, which is beautiful. Very appreciative of that. And everybody's got their own healing journey, man. I know as soon as you start to feel really good and you've been through really hard stuff, you want everyone on that wavelength, and you want to pull everyone up and say, come up here. It just feels so much better to be up here. Come with. And they're like, no, it feels better to be suffering and miserable. And that's tough. Like, you just want everyone to feel this good. But there's such a big plan for everyone, and we don't know it. We can't control it. That's the beauty of kind of God's magic, honestly, is that I'm sure people were looking at me that were all in the light, and they're looking at me all those years like, when the hell is this girl going to get better? When is she going to wake up type attitude, So it's good to be kind of aware of the whole picture if you can, not be too close into the line, the timeline.
Yeah, for somebody who you haven't shared everything with me, but has been through so much, you have such a positive outlook on
It wasn't
things.
always that way. It wasn't always that way, man. I used to be the negative Nancy. I used to be the overly anxious one that would paint the horrible picture because I've been through kind of the worst days. You know, the worst case scenario did happen, and you just kind of fear every day that that's what's going to keep happening is the worst day ever. And I was really young when that happened. You know, I'm 10 years old, and my parents are drug addicts. They're dealing drugs and being in gangs. My mom was actually in prison, jail at the time. We were taken away, put into foster care, and you know that that's gonna happen. Like, I've known
And
that
you have
since
siblings,
I was
yeah?
little. Yeah, I have a sister, and
Were
right
were
now we're
they also put into foster care?
yeah, what's crazy, Spencer, is that the moment we were taken away and put into foster care, they tried to separate us. And they tried to tell me that it was for our benefit and for our safety. And I don't know if they've ever dealt with a child like me before, but I leaped across a table and attacked a man to try to, and said, "You're not separating her from me."
How old were you?
10.
Hmm.
Um, and I fought, and I remember fighting with this guy. I remember flipping tables and just causing like a scene to make sure she came with me. And we were put in foster care for 7 months in Texas. Um, and then meanwhile, they somehow got in contact with my grandparents in Maryland, and they began the adoption process basically. Um, so gosh, yeah, like when that happens, you just kind of think every day you're going to be taken away, you know, every
So
day is going to be
you
the
were
worst
10
day
years
ever.
you were 10 years old, you and your sister
Yep. Hmm.
were put into the foster care system.
Yep. Yep. And I was actually
And
really lucky to have good foster parents. Just one set of good foster parents.
how long were you with them?
About 7 months.
Okay.
Um, and I had a very hard time in foster care because they were putting me in school, they were feeding me 3 meals a day, there was rules all of a sudden, and I didn't play that all of my life. I was a pirate, you know? I stole all of our food. I played with, I don't know. I just didn't have that consistent childhood. I didn't really go to school a whole lot because I was the kid that showed up with lice and no school supplies and dirty clothes and homeless, and they would just make fun of you and say, "Why are you late? Why don't you have the things you need?" And I'm like, Dude, I have her here. That's all I can do is I got her here. That's all I can do." And I would go and leave school. This is the elementary school.
This is your younger
Um,
sister?
yeah, my younger sister. She's 3 years younger than me. And I would leave school, like, I would drop her off, and then I would go to things like Dollar Generals and get supplies, like, I would steal supplies and steal food, and then go home and take care of my parents, and then walk back.
At 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yep, and then I would go back and pick up my sister and walk her back, and we lived in a very terrible gang-related neighborhood, so there were plenty of times we were almost kidnapped or, um, like, lured into alleys or it's just dangerous. We were living in really dangerous places. So you live this life up until 10 years old, and then your parents are partying and bringing in drugs and bringing in gangsters. I'm doing drug deals till 1, 2, and 3 in the morning, hopping fences, stealing people's stuff, taking it to pawn shops and selling it because my parents.
How old were you the first time you ever did a drug deal?
I was 4,
And
and I
what
actually
was it?
remember it. I remember my dad waking me up like kind of late at night and saying like, "Hey, come with me." And he said, "I have this gift for a friend, and I need you to give it to him because I want for it to be a surprise. I don't want it to know that it's from me." And he took me to somebody's house, and I remember him just sneaking it in my pocket, and he said, "Don't ask what this is." And I knock on the door, and it's like this huge, huge guy was there, and he was covered in tattoos and just the scariest motherfucker I've ever seen. I'm like, "This is one of my dad's friends." What the heck? Um, and he gave me a wad of cash this big, and I traded traded for that, and then went back in the car. Did it every night the rest of my life, and we would.
So your dad would sit in the car
Mhm.
and he would send you inside.
Yeah. And I remember if we were driving anywhere, we had to duck
That
under
is
the seat.
knuckin' futz, dude. That is knuckin' futz, Case.
Big time, big
I
time. He
didn't.
wanted to be sure that I was caught and not him. I'm also like itty bitty, tiny, tiny, tiny thing, and I'm blonde hair, blue eyed in these neighborhoods. Unfortunately, I was a target for gangs because to get initiated into some of these gangs, you are supposed to murder a white blonde girl with blue eyes. It is that specific. So I remember wearing a lot of dark clothing and like covering my face a lot when I was younger. I wore a handcuff key around my neck so that I could like get myself out of handcuffs if I ever needed to. Yeah, Candace gets it, man. Mm. Gosh, me and Candace just understand each other. Oh, yes. Unfortunately, unfortunately. But yeah, I was just that's why I say I was raised a pirate because it's just the only good word I can describe because it was just so lawless and I stole and like that's how I fed myself. That's how I fed our family. Um, and my dad would just like I remember him getting a job or two.
This right here is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I invited her yesterday to the group call just to see if she wanted to like check it out. And she messaged me later on. She messaged me this morning and said the reason she didn't jump on was because she didn't want to be seen by anybody.
Yeah.
And so that's like a really big deal. Candace, that would be amazing. We would love that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Whew, that was a lot of things to share with everybody. Sorry if that's too much for anyone, but it's my life. It's my story. Um, and when you're raised that way, you really do think every day after that is, I'm going to get taken away, man. I'm going to get taken away. I'm going to get caught. It's almost like I thought I was going to get arrested at young ages for the things that my parents did and for what I did to survive. And then when I got up here to Maryland to live with my grandparents, it is the complete opposite life. I mean, I had a bedroom, I had a bed, I had everything was pink and white and get up
And
early,
so
go to school.
they like did they legally adopt you
Yes.
at
Yep.
11, 10, 10 and a half,
Yep.
11?
Yeah, I was 11 when I got up to Maryland. Yep.
Okay. And so like at 4, 5, 6 years old, you're doing that. At that time, did you know that that was wrong? Like, or no,
It's
it
like
just,
it's like whatever your parents do, you just kind of accept as normal. That you
yeah.
just say, "This is normal. This is what normal is." You have this inner knowing in your body that's saying, "This is wrong," and this is wrong, and my body loves integrity. It's my first value. So everything in the back of my head was saying, "This is wrong. This is wrong," and it's why I avoided school so much too, because I was learning in school, like, drugs are bad, don't do things, and I'm like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, and so
I'm
you
not
heard
doing
that
drugs,
and you
but
would feel, I mean, pain, physical pain
yeah.
probably, right?
Big time. Yeah, absolutely. Because like these are my parents. I love them. I take care of them. And my dad was an epileptic, seizures, schizophrenic, uh, all of those things. So I took care of him. And these people would overdose like all the time, and I knew exactly how to get them out of those things. And my poor mother was just victim to my father. She was like, I'll say a completely normal person before meeting him.
Okay.
Um,
Whatever that
she
means, but yeah.
Yeah, she worked, worked at a bank and, she had a good, had a good thing going. She had a previous marriage actually, and he cheated on her and left her and she divorced him, met my dad.
Mm.
And he's
So
just been doing drugs his whole life,
is there an age difference there? Like your dad's older or no? Not really.
Not by much.
Okay.
Maybe just by a couple of years. That my mom might be a hair older. But they met around when she was 28, 29 years old, and then they had me. Then they got married a couple years after that. I remember being at my parents' wedding. Oh, Candace, I love you too. Thank you so much. Oh, what's funny is my sister's name is Candace, spelled with an I, but um, so it's just funny. It's just so many synchronicities. But yeah, once I was up with my grandparents, it's just a complete opposite life, and I'm going to school, and everyone notices how small I am. My mouth, the cursing that was out of my mouth was terrible, because I was just raised by gangsters. There was no, don't say that, you know. So I still work on my mouth. I'm still
So
working.
you were like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. You were cussing. You were just
Still
like a
cursing.
little.
Well, like I was just already. I mean, my parents didn't even have running water sometimes, and they would only buy or steal beer. I remember drinking beer at a young age because it was all that was available, or breaking into people's houses to steal bottles of water.
Did you like it?
No, God, no. I actually remember writing in some journal all my drunk notes as a kid, terrible little
How old were
notes.
you think the first time you got drunk?
Little 7, 6, 7.
My gosh.
And my dad would give me, like, sleeping pills to make me sleep, like, 2 to 3 days so they could party. If my mom was in jail, he would do a little bit worse. Um, so it's just there's a dark, dark 10, dark 10 years there, and once you've been through those things, you really do think that today's gonna be the day I'm taken away to put in jail, like, the worst is just gonna happen because the worst did happen, and I knew it, oh gosh, that day was we just got done a drug deal. I had, like, $2,000 laying on the cash on the table, and I hear boom, boom, boom on the door, and it's CPS, they come in the door, and they say, "You have 2 minutes to gather your stuff," and that's it, and that's the last time I physically saw my father, so pretty much. I only maybe had 1 or 2 more visitations with him before leaving Maryland. Yeah.
And you reconnected with him later on in life, yeah, or no?
So, it's like we were with my grandparents, and they did not hold anything, against my father or my mother and let us communicate as little or as much as we wanted. He was in jail a lot through my teens, and I remember him writing a lot in my teens, and he started to ask for money. He started to ask for stuff, and the unfortunate thing is I was in college, and I remember getting a phone call from my mother, and she said a sergeant from the jail that my dad was at called her and was like, "Do you have 2 daughters named Casey and Candace, this age?" And she's like, "Yeah." "All right, is this the daughters of Jeff?" "Yeah." "What's up?" Um, they were finding photos of me and my sister in the prison that were not photos we were sending him. Um, he was paying somebody to stalk our social medias at that time and print out photos of us, and we're the young girls, like teenage girls, so we have cute photos or bikini pics, things like that, and my dad was selling those photos in jail to other men, and it became such a concern apparently that they had to contact us. So that is the last time I had contact with my father. I wrote him off that day. Um, literally, I think I'm 19 when that happened. So from 19 to 32, no relationship, no contact. I have no idea what happened to him. And then May of last year, my mom calls and says that they found his body in an apartment alone. Not an evidence of drugs, but he did have a stroke. So I had to heal and been healing the loss of my father, and I grieved him and his life and how, I'm so blessed to have so many amazing people in my life and amazing men in my life. My grandfather's a good man, my husband's a good man, my business partner's a good man, my employees that work with me, and he didn't have that. He didn't have his family. He didn't have anyone. He's not gonna have a funeral or had any funeral or anything to give me or anything of the possession. So I just
How
grieved
long
that
when did that happen? When did he
last
pass
May.
away?
May. And that's been hard. I went and Googled him just right after Christmas, this past Christmas, to see if I could find like a date or if any record of him. Couldn't find anything except a mugshot from last year, from 2023. There was a mugshot of him getting arrested again for drugs and possession. And that is the first time I saw my father, even just a picture of him, um, in 10 plus 20 years. And it was really hard to see him because he looked very sick, very homeless, very terrible, So I just really grieve him and for the life he lived. But I really freaking hope that he prayed before going and that he's got a space, next to our Lord and Savior, please.
I have chills right now. I have goosebumps all over my body, dear. Do you have do you have any good memories with him?
Absolutely. I talked to my mom about 2 weekends ago, actually, for about 3 hours. I was like, "Bro, like, he can't be all bad. Like, what was good, Let's talk, and what do I have from him?" And she said, "Casey, you have his heart. And she goes, "I know that sounds crazy, but he would give the skin off of his back to any stranger. He would give all of his things to his friends and to his people, and he would do anything for these people." And she said, "And you have his integrity," which also sounds crazy, but he always wanted to do the right thing, but he couldn't when he was on drugs. And When I think of my father, I think of us fishing and hunting. We had a lake house that my grandmother built, his mother built. And when we were at the lake house, the deal was no drugs. You know, my nana said, no drugs here. You don't ever do drugs here. And that was our safe place. So we would go to the lake house,
Was that in
and
Texas?
that was in Texas, in Tyler, just outside Tyler, Texas. So out on the west side. And it had a gorgeous lakefront, you know, and this deck we would walk out on, and we'd get up 4 or 5 a.m. and go fishing and go hunting. He taught me to like kill my first rattlesnake, shot my first deer, shot my first dove, boar. You know, when they were hunting, he couldn't do drugs because they have guns. So like when we were hunting or fishing, he was free. And those are absolutely what I hold on to, those good memories. And I asked my mom how they met, and she said they were at a bar, and he had came up to her and asked her to dance and put a cowboy hat on her head. And she said she still has the cowboy hat. So I actually asked Ryan recently if I could get a cowboy hat tattoo and get it for him with maybe some like little antlers or something to kind of represent the hunting, because you know it is not all bad. There's just people that are just super, I'll say, victim to it. You know, it's just they fall into this and can't get out.
So
Devil
when
takes
when he
over.
was sober, like your memory of him was he was a good dad. He was a
Absolutely,
great dad.
absolutely.
And what was his drug of choice?
Oh, I would say
All
crystal meth,
okay.
cocaine,
Uppers.
a little bit of heroin, I believe. Um, a lot of shoot. I remember there's needles, a lot of needles, and a lot of snorting, needles and snorting. Um, and of course, just alcohol. I mean, super bad on the alcohol. Yeah, that's that's my dad. But I literally don't want to belong to anyone else but him and my mother,
Mm.
because they made me this person. So I wouldn't want it any other way. I just wish that he is, or I just hope that he's in a place of peace and that he can, um, you know, turn his karma around in the future for his future lives. Brother Andrew. Oh, so sorry, Candace. Oh, yeah. They said, I'm pretty sure my father's had 3 or 4 strokes, and I remember hearing that he lost all his teeth on the one of his strokes. I don't know if anything ever happened with like getting implants or anything, but oh, thanks, Jesse. Glad you're here. Gosh, thank you, thank you. Um, you know, I'm extremely fortunate to be here. I mean, that's why I named my shop after my grandparents. It's why I go after life so hard. It's why I have a positive attitude. Is I've seen the devil. I've been held in his hand. I've been doing his work
Mm.
way before I met God.
Before you didn't even know it was the devil's work, but
Mm-mm.
I fucking love you.
Oh
You're
my
so
gosh, I
great.
love
You're so
you. Thank
wonderful.
you.
Um,
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you, thank you. And you knew, I mean, I had the
and
voice the whole time. The whole time, the voice said, "We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. It's not safe. It's not safe. It's not safe. You're going to be the one that gets us out of here." Because eventually, I was getting pissed that no one was noticing, that no one was doing more.
what was your earliest like recognition of that voice, of you having that voice? You think?
Always, I don't know if there is. It's just there. You know, that was just always the voice, and it was in the heart, and it's kind of in the back of the head. And if I can go all the way back to 4 years old, I would say is when I started to really notice that there was an inner conflict with the outside, with the external. And I was just like, when does this end? When does this end? How am I going to get out of here? And I actually asked God so many times to take me, just take me, just take me, take her. I can't be here anymore. I can't do this anymore. It's so unsafe, you know? So when I wake up and I have no one banging down my door, no tornado going through my house, that was a big concern. We had tornadoes, you know? And that I'm not waking up to gangsters in my house. I'm not waking up to guns to my head. I'm not waking up doing drugs or dealing, those are like 50 blessings before I even leave my bed. And then I'm able-bodied and getting up, and I have my husband and my dog and this incredible home and incredible business that are not all by accident. It's a lot of work on all sides, which means healing myself and not being angry at everyone, because that's where my sister is at. My sister hates my guts. We haven't spoken in almost 2.5, 3 years. We haven't seen each other in at least 3 years. And she blames my father, she blames me, she blames my grandparents, she blames parents and everyone for not having anything. And it's correct. You're right. We don't have anything. So I get up and make it for myself. And that's where she really doesn't like me, is that now I have the answer and I've been doing the work and doing the thing. And that's hard. It's way easier to stay where she's at. And I was there for a long time.
So I know we didn't like hang out all the time at McDaniel, but when I met you, you were very you appeared to have your stuff together then. You were very friendly, you were very kind, you were sweet, like you were nice, you had friends, you had a bunch of people around you all the time. So you obviously intentionally went through like a healing phase before then, yeah?
I would say so, and I think it's just when I got to Maryland, I had so much gratitude. I had so much gratitude for, like, "Holy shit, there's a school, and I have clothes. I have clothes to wear to school." My grandparents bought me clothes. Now they bought me all pink. I was pissed about it. Like, "Don't buy me more pink shit." I'm
What do you want,
angry.
all black? Like you
I was
wanted
emo.
goth
Oh my
or
god, I was, like, all emo, everything, jelly bracelets,
okay.
Avril Lavigne eyeliner. I was so angry. Wanted to be like Evanescence, you know? But I was like, "You know what, Case? You're grateful," you know? And they had all these rules, and I was not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that. Damn right, like, who wouldn't hold us down?
Mm,
We finally
mm.
got we finally got to a safe place, so of course my grandparents are gonna be extra protective. So I dived into every activity that I could. I got into music, dance, sports, and just went ham. And I loved studying. I loved learning. It was so opposite of everything I've been through before. I was like, you can learn shit? Like, this is crazy. So I just went, if you is how you describe me in college is pretty much how I was in middle school and high school. And I just did a lot. In school, I was cross country runner, indoor and outdoor track, did flute and dance and chorus and yearbook and photography. I loved getting good grades. I was such a teacher's pet. I loved the attention. I loved being told I was good and that you're doing good. And I think I got addicted to that because I was told and felt the opposite for so long. Hi, Rory. Thanks for joining us. Really glad you're here.
Rory's
Hope every
he's a motivator, inspirer. Him and I have yet to jump on a call, but he's got a couple different things going on and really seems to be helping people out with providing some type of service. And then got MJ in the house.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope anything sticks and resonates, and that you can have anything to take with you. Open to any questions too. Happy to help you guys answer anything. So I kind of, like you said in school, I just had a lot of gratitude toward life because it was so nearly taken from me for so long, so many times, so many opportunities. I was scared every single day. That's why I'm so familiar with fear. Every single day. There is no weekend of being a gangster or day off. Like every day is survival. And I'm small and white and vulnerable and blue-eyed and blonde-haired, so I'm like the victim, the queen of victim, and I decided a long freaking time ago, probably on that plane, I will never be a victim again because I remember that plane ticket. I would visit my grandparents every summer.
Okay.
Starting around 3 years old, my parents put me on a plane, 3 years old by myself to Maryland. My grandparents picked me up, and I spent every summer with my grandparents, and then right back to 10 months of reality. And the older I got and the more that happened, I start to get really angry and like, who's gonna
So
notice?
you would then go back after
Yeah. Mhm.
So you were 12, 13 years old going back there and being with them?
No, no, no. After this was before I was adopted. So
Okay.
like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I was coming up to grandma and grandpa's in the summertime. And it was kind of a taste of regular life. We went to the movies, we went to the zoo. They took us to places. Rory, I'm so proud of you. So, 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 so proud of you. Ah,
Congrats, Rory.
congrats.
What was your drug of choice, brother?
Yes, tell us what it was. Um, so ever since getting on that plane, when I knew I was gonna be adopted by my grandparents, I was on the countdown. I'm like, "When? Tell me when." My dad wouldn't sign the papers for weeks and weeks, "Let's get pushing from Texas to Maryland and push this inspection and push this and push that," and I was so enraged every day in foster care, like, "Get me out." Got that ticket to BWI and it says one way. I've always had a round trip, so that one-way ticket meant everything to me.
Mm.
I got to grandma and grandpa's, and I think that's just when I decided never again will I be a victim. Never again will I let people tell me what to do and how to do it. And that's sort of why my grandparents had a hard time raising me because I already knew the right thing to do. You couldn't tell me. I had way more life experience in 10 years than they had in their whole 50. So I was already getting the straight A's. You don't have to tell me. I was already the best as an athlete. You don't have to tell me. I was already a good and kind and friendly person. You don't have to tell me, you know? So still kind of on that wavelength. It's almost like I have a middle finger of smiles to everyone. I'm like, ha! See how happy I am? See how good I am? It's all a choice. I don't have to be.
Do you still have that?
For sure. I'm gonna be healing from this the rest of my life. I will never sit here and say like, "Oh, I'm just fully healed. I'm so unangry about everything." Of course, you know. I'm mad that Serenity here is never gonna know grandparent or a parent son, from like she's not gonna know my dad as her grandfather, you know. I'm not gonna have my mom be able-bodied and able-minded. She is clean, but she has had a lot of difficulties with her mental health in the last several years. So I can't exactly rely on her, like how to do insurance, how to cook spaghetti. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
know.
So when you both got officially adopted by your grandparents, that was your grandma and grandpa?
Yeah, it's my grandmother and this is her husband technically, but to me, he's my grandpa. He was not my
Okay.
blood
So
grandfather.
you're like your sister when you were in high school, did you go to therapy?
No.
Okay. So your outlet of working on yourself and being better was all like you just being active in the school, being active in different groups and
Yep.
finding like identity in those groups and being loved by those people.
Yep. Big time. I think
Did your sister not have that?
yeah, yeah, I would say that she still, she was the baby. And when she got to Maryland, it's probably pretty confusing of who's her parent because I've taken care of her for so long. Is Casey my mom? Is it grandma? Is it grandpa? Where's my mom? Where's my dad? And it's just kind of always victimized,
Mm.
um, her situation. And I don't, she didn't seem to care about school. She didn't seem to care about getting into activities. She just, um, I'm not really sure. That's kind of the thing about my sister. She's just a huge freaking mystery to everyone. She doesn't tell anyone anything that's going on. Never has. Not even when she was 5. It's just the way she is. And I love her. Gosh, I love her, and I've tried my best to love her as best I can and send her all my love and light, but she definitely has a lot of anger still.
Yeah. So she is still holding on to victim mentality
Mhm.
and blame game. The entire
Oh, yeah.
time I've known you, and especially over the past couple of months, not one time have you ever said anything or related anything that you come off as victim blame game. Like, I don't even know if you taking ownership is the right word. I don't think. I just feel like acceptance. Like you have
Yeah.
acceptance.
Mhm. 'Cause I don't wanna feel angry anymore. I noticed how scared and angry I was for 10 years, and I was just like, "Am I gonna be like this forever?" And that's kind of where you get to with any rock bottom is, am I just gonna be like this forever? Is this just how I die? Because I wanted to commit suicide. I was a cutter in middle school, and my sister was too, and she would hide it with these bracelets and stuff.
How old were you the
Uh,
first time you did that?
Probably 10, right when I got up. I think no, foster care, 10, I think I was 10 was the first time.
When was the last time you did that?
Let's see. High school, definitely not college, so I think around high school, maybe around 11th grade.
Do I have permission to talk on this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I
No.
know I've had girlfriends and I've had several friends that have done that, and I've been like had relations with them while they were currently doing that. Um, and then I've reached out to some of my influence on that, and the response is, "Oh, well, they just want attention. Like they just want attention. They're just crying for help. They're
And
weak."
that's definitely where
Um,
everybody that's the umbrella statement for sure that everyone says, and if
mhm.
I were to get really deep and honest with it, you have so much internal pain that demands to be felt and no one's paying attention, so I will feel this pain myself in my control.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can really describe it, is that I'm gonna control when the pain comes out, because it demands to be felt some way.
And then in talking with them, the friends and loved ones that are doing that and trying to help them through that. And their response is, I like it.
Hmm. Yeah, I could relate to the feeling.
Did
And
you
what it
feel that
is,
way? Did you
yeah,
feel
and
like you,
the feeling of I like it is somebody's paying attention. I'm getting the attention. I'm feeling the pain now. Um, and that's a hard question to answer. It really is like when you see your blood coming out of your body, it feels like the internal pain is leaving externally.
so Case, if you could go back and talk to 11-year-old Casey that was
Mhm.
doing that, what would you say to her?
Ugh, I would just tell her to love herself so much more and to find some help. Um, this is not my grandparents' fault at all, but we were like we did do a teeny bit of therapy right when we got up there, but I think it was only 2 weeks, and it was, like, court-ordered therapy. So it's only 2 weeks of us being in Maryland, not anything from there. And my grandparents definitely are just in such a positive state that they're just like, "Nothing ever happened. You're okay. You're okay."
Mm.
No, a lot of shit happened, guys. A lot of shit happened, and it's still
Do you
painful.
think that that's
Still
almost
fixing it.
damaging? Do you think that's damaging when somebody is there mentally, emotionally, and you're just telling them, you're okay, you're going to be okay, you're all right, you're fine? Like, do you think that's damaging?
Yeah, and that's why I would cut. It's like, "No, I'm not fine. Look how unfine I am. Here's the physical evidence of me not being fine." Exactly, Jesse, so much more. So, I do not blame them because it's definitely just part of, a response to how they would respond to my trauma. They even still say, "Don't talk about this." They don't want me talking about this. They don't
Yeah.
ever they don't even wanna hear it.
Yeah.
Well,
They don't want to acknowledge it. Mm.
I've been through it. I've been feeling it. My dad passed away in May, so you can't just say there's nothing, you know? So it's still fresh. My sister still hates my guts. That's fresh, you know?
So,
My
and
mom is
you grew up
healing
around
from
that,
it.
and you've also, because of that, due to that, you have never done a drug in your life, correct?
I have done mushrooms one time and then became the spiritual person. Um,
Okay. And what are
and
your thoughts
then
on the shrooms?
it definitely seemed like it opens up the pineal gland.
Okay.
And
Did you
you
have
know,
a
I
spiritual experience?
I did. I didn't have a fun time.
No?
No,
It was a
I did not
scary
have fun.
spiritual
It's
experience.
scary.
Okay.
And then I would say I was a light marijuana user from 2021 to just about last year. I have slowed down on that a lot. Just I like to be. My name is Casey Hart. Hart, 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 Hart. Um, yeah, so I did, to dabbled a little bit of marijuana, and like I'll do a cocktail at a family event or something, but no, definitely never. I would never consider myself like a drug user. Never was interested. Over the last several years after Mike's cancer diagnosis, he got into smoking, and it did seem to help him. So I was like, it'll help me, and I think I had my time with it, and that's
So
fine.
he was in pain,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and marijuana helped ease that.
Yeah, and his anxiety too, for sure.
Mm.
And of course, this was all legal, so this was legal drug use. I got the card, I got saw a doctor for everything.
Thanks for
Um,
clarifying for our watchers that wanted to
yeah,
know about legal or illegal. That's good.
mushrooms definitely medicine. Yeah, and so I do think I attribute my mushroom trip to. It's just amazing. My friends that I did that with Ryan and Tony, they say you did mushrooms one time and became this woo woo spiritual Buddha pants wearing because it was about 5 years ago. Um, And, I'm not called to do any more drugs or do anything. The only thing I would do potentially is if I go down to
Ayahuasca.
the I would go to the but I would go to the Yawanawa tribe in the Amazon and do it with the tribes people. That is
I
not
knew that you
something
were
to
going to say
just
that.
yeah, just not gonna do it here in the living room. Like, that's
Yeah.
not for
Turn on
me.
some Family Feud.
Yeah, no thanks. So, I find, that plant medicine is plant medicine, and I do find there's a lot of healing properties with all kinds of modalities. For me, I like to be extremely mindful and aware and be in control of my body, So, um, I wouldn't call myself like interested in drugs. I mean, look at my life. Look what I've been through. Of course, I wouldn't be interested. It ruined my parents. It ruined my life. Yes, I've eaten my pounds.
Okay, Jesse.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
JC.
so funny. That's so funny. Hi, Isabella. Thanks for joining us. Hope things are well with you and yours. Um, so yeah, that's a long brief history on Casey Hart here.
I just learned so much about you. Thank you for sharing all that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I did not expect to. Wow, it just kind of bleh, word
Yeah.
vomit. Oh,
Also, it paints like a really good picture as to why you are so wonderful. I I let Landon pick what book we're gonna read most nights. You
uh-huh.
know, trying to like have him enjoy reading. So
Yep,
if I let him have the option, maybe he'll choose one that he'll want to read, and then he'll, you know.
yep.
And he picked The Subtle Art of Not Giving a.
That's my first book that I read on my journey. I
Okay.
love Mark Manson. He's the man. He just puts it out there because he talks like I do. He talks like my inner gangster self, where I'm like, yes, he just gets me. Because I'm still working on my mouth, dude. Like it's something my grandparents tried, my teachers tried. Like, can you just like you sound so intelligent? Could you just not get through a sentence with the F word, please? uh, trying so hard. Thank you, Jesse. Thanks for hearing and being a part of this space, and thank you for your sobriety, and thank you for your relationship to Spencer, so that we could find each other. So grateful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad because these stories can stay internal and internalize into anger and just be pissed off at the world, or they, yeah. Hi, Isabel. We're seeing everything here. Um, so I think I discovered pretty quickly on that airplane. I think on that airplane, that one-way ticket is when I was like, I will not be a victim. I'm going to go after life. I've been given a second chance. This is everything I prayed for, everything I asked for. Let's go. And I probably gave in some way back then my life to spirit without noticing,
You
you
talk to
know?
yourself that way at 11 years old?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I think I had a very elevated consciousness at 11 years old because I had to. You have to be so aware of every noise and everything because we would move my dad would pick us up and move us in the middle of the night because he was so paranoid about getting caught, you know? So I just always felt like I was gonna get caught. I was gonna get caught and I was gonna get taken away. I'm gonna get taken away. So that anxiety, good God, like it made me very difficult to like ground. I would move around a lot. Even as a kid, I'd move my room around a lot, change that a lot, change my friend group a lot, change the environment in any way that I can. Even when me and Michael were dating, we moved almost every year, and he's kind of like, "Why do we keep moving?" And
Mm.
I'm like, "I don't know. That's just all I know." So it's really hard.
We gotta get you to buy a house too.
Yeah, I know.
Just
So
saying.
this was a big deal for me to have a townhouse. I just got a townhouse about a year and a half ago, and I'm renting it. I did try to buy. They were mad that I didn't have 3 years of my Foxwood business. I only had 2. So I was like, "Okay, let me just chill here for a bit." But I wanna build a house, I think.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'd rather buy a lot of land and design a custom house because I'm that picky. Um, so even with Michael, I've settled down. I've got my shop. Like that really grounded me. That's like, you've got a business now. Boom. And now I've got this house and a dog. And, me and Serenity have such an incredible relationship now. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. So grounding, staying still, moving slow, all of the things I've been learning the last several years here is, how to actually build a life and build a foundation. Because I have been going so fast for 30 years and I realized I was gonna get to my own deathbed before anyone noticed. I was just gonna race against the clock and just go, 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 go. And I worked 70, 80 hours a week, go, 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 because I don't know the difference. My parents didn't have a day off or a day on. We were dealing drugs at 2 a.m., 10 a.m., doesn't matter. So, and then my grandparents were kind of retired, so opposite speed. Yeah, and they're just trying to slow me down. I'm like, don't slow me down.
That's mom's parents.
Mom's mom and yes, her stepdad.
Okay. And so we've covered a lot, and there's lots of different things
Mm-hmm.
that I want to go into and could go into. Oh! Okay. I want to say I'm really sorry about your sister and you right now.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
what's her name?
Candace, of all things.
Candace with an I. That's
Uh-huh,
right.
uh-huh.
I would love to
I
be
just
able to pour some love into her
Yeah,
at some point
absolutely,
if that's
and I
if
try
that's
to
ever
see
an
the
option.
longer I try to see the longer picture, I try to see us in our 40s, 50s, 60s and aging, and having a better relationship, or at least a healed version of her. If that doesn't involve me, okay, that's fine. I just
Yeah.
hope she heals.
You can lead them to the well, but you can't make them drink. Like you can't make anybody do anything else. They got to do it
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, big time, big time. So I always send her love, send her light, put her in my prayers every day. She would call me fake for saying that. She would say, "You're so fake.
Mm.
You don't actually pray. You don't actually do that. You don't believe in God." Are the
I
things
get
she says.
rhetoric like that as well from some people
Mhm.
in my family too.
Yeah. But okay, I'm the one doing
Ooh.
it. I know inside what I'm doing. I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So,
So fast,
yeah.
fast, 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 fast. Which to segue, you are coming up with something called
Mhm.
slow.
Slow, the silver lining of optimistic well-being. It's a program I've been writing for a year, and I was just practicing how slow I could write it. That's
Okay.
procrastination. Um, so it's a 3-month program hoping to launch in April that is for people like me that just move so fast and go so fast. They tend to be people pleasers. They tend to be hardworking and they tend to not know how to say no, have no boundaries, and they just know that this is going to kill them if they keep going like this speed.
Hmm.
So that's what the program is for. It would just be something like this where they would meet with me once a month as a group or once a week as a group, and then once a month one on one. And I would give you weekly challenges that are like, here's your challenge this week to slow down and
Yeah.
do a little thing.
And how many different people, if you were to guess, or try to put a number on, men and women, whether it be tattooing, Reiki, sound bowl, sound baths,
Hmm.
or your retreats that you have probably poured into, and in the healing space?
In the healing space, like how many people? Does that include tattooing?
It does.
I don't know. 5,000
Mm.
seems like a proper number, or so maybe 8,000 can with some extra tattooing, extra this and that. Yeah, but I tattooed so many people 5, 6, 7 days a week for so many years, and then the last 5 years I do one-on-ones. I do group sound baths of anywhere from 5 to 25 people, and then I've been on 3 retreats in which I teach at those retreats as well, and those are 10 to 25 people at those retreats. So yeah, lots of people. Hi, John. Good to see you. Isn't that your brother? That's your
That is
brother.
my big brother.
Hi.
Yes, it is.
Hello, sir. Hello, hello. Procrastinators unite. Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I'm so good at time management. I am like the queen of getting shit done without you even noticing.
Mm.
So I'm like been trying to move slower with that. It's like it gets done when it gets done. Mm,
Okay. And
mm.
how do you set yourself up to be successful with time management? Like, what do you do? Please tell us. I
Ah.
would love to learn and gain that knowledge from you.
Well, that discipline is really hard. It's consistency. Um, and it's kind of removing a lot of like patterns and removing these stigmas that you have to work every day, you have to work this way, you have to make money this way. Like for example, as a tattoo artist, it feels very easy to work and tattoo 40 hours a week. Well, I don't if I tattoo 40 hours a week, that means I'm doing 20 hours of admin plus. So what if I took my tattooing down to 30 hours? What happens if I take it down to 25? So it's literally just questioning why you do everything and does it serve you anymore? We will do a lot of things right now because that's the pattern, that's what we do. I've just always worked this job. This is what I've always done. Well, does it serve you or did you learn it from someone else? Is
Mm.
it serving
Does this
someone
serve
else?
you? That's just right
Mhm.
there.
Yep. So, yeah, if that's helpful at all, it's mostly finding out why do you get up at this time? Why do you eat this? Why do you work out like that? Why do you work at this place? Why do you have this car? Why are you in this relationship? Start questioning those why. Then you start to break down that there's 24 hours in a day, and I kind of do 3 big chunks of 8 hour, 8 hour, 8 hour, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, and then your other 8 hours is supposed to be recreational, but people don't know that.
Where'd you get that from?
There's a book. Uh,
The
that's called
12.
4,000. There's 4,000 Weeks. It's one of my favorite books. Is that Oliver Goodman? Really good time management book. It's difficult to be your own boss, sure is. Yep, definitely. Because it's easy to be, I don't have a boss that tells me, good job, here's your hours, here's your thing to do. I have to be the person to come up with the task, delegate how the task gets done, and then do the task. That's 3 times the work.
Mm,
So then you have to put in a little bit of time for yourself. There's about a 60% of your calendar that's working and all of your responsibilities. Then there's kind of this 30% that should be um, kind of taking care of yourself. And that last 10% is for the hard stuff, for things you can't control. Um, that 30% really should be put in your calendar more often. If you look at a whole month, try to find 3 days out of that month that are kind of your do nothing and then just write it down as do nothing. And I try to have a to be list just as long as a to do list. So we are human beings, not human doings. So I've got these long, long, long to do lists, but I try to make sure I have a to be list, which means make my tea, read a little bit, journal, stretch, go to the grocery store or the market and do the things I need to do for myself. But we feel guilty about doing those things for ourselves. And you have to work through those feelings and acknowledge them for what they are, move past them and say, you cannot take care of your wife, husband, children, home, job, car, any of your responsibilities if you're not at your performance, at your peak, at your taken care of. Can't fill from an empty cup. We hear these things, we know these things, but putting it into implement and practice, that is so hard.
yep.
So
Sure
hard.
is.
So just ask why. Why go through your 12, go through your 24 hours and go, why do I do this? And can it be stopped, delegated, shortened, gone, added to, subtracted? Because a lot of people feel like we have to add things to our calendar. Oh, I got to start working out. Oh, I got to eat better. I got to do this. I got to do this. Well, you can't just keep adding and keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. You're just going to spread yourself so thin. So going into your calendar and just kind of nicking things. No, 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 no. Start saying no. Start saying yes to things for yourself.
Have you read The Power of Now?
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yep.
Yeah. So a big takeaway that I get from that is like being aware of the time that this is gonna have to get done and keeping a schedule of things, but
Yep.
and not thinking I gotta.
Yep. And I try to tell people, tell yourself in real time. So it sounds like when we say we got to do the dishes, and it sounds like it's going to take an hour, hours. Be real with your timing and say, actually, doing the dishes takes 8 minutes. Getting the mail, taking the trash out takes 2 minutes. So instead of saying I got to do something, I just say
Do
it
it.
in real time. Yeah, just do it in real time. And I say, okay, tattooing is 6 hours. I have 30 minutes of consults. I have 2 hours of email instead of, oh, I got to email, I got to consult, and I got to tattoo. It just breaks it down into like real hours, real time, and start timing yourself.
I get to take out the trash. I get to have a client. I get to, yep.
That's gratitude. That's working with gratitude instead of victimhood of like responsibilities of being a human. Sure, we gotta freaking eat, we gotta sleep, and we gotta take care of ourselves.
Okay, John. Whatever floats your boat, bro.
Yeah, I love it. If you're called to that. Yep. He's like,
I don't
I'm
know.
only
I don't know if he's kidding. I don't know if he's kidding.
That's what's funny. I know. I love it. It's just you can go if you want to, keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Go for it, friend. But you will get to your deathbed and you go, son of a gun. I did a lot of doing for a lot of other people, and I never took a vacation. I never took this out. You got to have some audacity and permission from yourself. I don't have anyone telling me, like, go on vacation, make sure you take time off. No one's ever going to say that to me. So I do it. I do it. I do it. It's giving yourself permission. Um, and kind of the audacity to say, I earned this. I know exactly what I did this last month, the last 6 months, the last year, the last 5 years, the last 10 and 15 and 20. I've worked my ass off for this. So yeah, I'm going to do it. That takes big courage. But I have one life to live as far as I know. So no wasting time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for just being you, man. For being you. Thank you.
Thank you. I just appreciate you so much and all these people here listening because we seriously had no freaking plan. And We're just showing up messy and showing up raw and authentic, and it's crazy how much of this was about me today. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't know most of that.
Here we go. There's just more to find out. Just dig and dig and dig. And I love being an open book so that people can relate. Because I know everybody's got, parents that are, this. And it's just, I'm a relatable person. I've got a husband with cancer. I've got a stepdaughter dealing with baby mama drama. I've got parents that were drug addicts. I'm running a business while trying to hold it all together.
That's one of the things I wanted to dig into a little bit was his childhood and like how he got to that point, if you know. And then also relating the self-harm with the addict who may not cut himself, but he's boozing and drugging, and like he knows what he's doing is killing himself, and also he tells himself that he has no choice and that he wants to do that, and that's
we'll self-destruct because the environment was destructive. So when we feel like we weren't protected or guarded, correctly, we'll just self-destruct because it matches the external environment. So I'm just going to destroy myself because that's what the expectation is out here. And I would say Michael had a very difficult childhood. His parents were teen parents, 17 years old when they had him, and his dad was a drummer in a band, and he's just kind of this rock star guy. And his mother, I think, really tries. She had to really try her best to, be a young mom. And I believe that everything appeared pretty normal for a long time. And then they got divorced when he was in high school. He went off to the military.
Michael, your husband, or are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He went off to the military, came back from the military, got pregnant with the baby mama, and his life has been crazy ever since. And he got diagnosed with bladder cancer in 2018. And that really took a huge hit on everyone. For me, his family, everyone. So I think Michael has got, intense anxiety, intense depression, and he's definitely been through it from the military, from his baby mama, from so many factors of his health. And I think he sort of had watched me go through these last several years, and he's like, maybe there's something to this healing stuff. Maybe there's something with this God stuff. And he's sort of, we'll call it waking up. He's definitely taking some responsibility in his life. He's definitely holding boundaries, and he's having very healing conversations with his family, trying his best to be honest. And we have had a very difficult couple years in our marriage. There were plenty of times we didn't think we would make it, and I'm really proud of these people that stuck with it. So super relatable. It is not a perfect marriage, you know. We look to drugs to numb us from the stuff we don't want to feel. Absolutely. And I think not only Michael and his parents, and people around, just everyone around, dives into alcohol. It's the only drug you have to convince people not to take. It's just an okay drug to do. And I think it started to ruin our relationship and our and the way we would, even with me drinking, if I drank with him too, it was just never good. Alcohol has never solved a problem ever. It's never been a good idea, just ever. So that's something we've taken out of our life over the last several months or so. So, he definitely has some self-destructive behavior, and I can absolutely resonate with that self-destruction for sure. Hard stuff, but life's hard. Life's unfair. Get over it. Let's go.
All is fair in love and war, man.
Right. And I'm kind of a no excuses kind of girl, I think, where, you just have so much power. You have so much more power than you realize. And I want people to wake up to their power. I just want people to recognize that you have so much more potential inside that is just fuming to get out. Like, just get it out. And we will numb it with the drugs, the alcohol, the social media, and scrolling, and the TV shows, and the binging, and the binging, and the binging. It's just like gluttonous, to just avoid feeling.
Yeah.
And it's to avoid feeling it's to avoid feeling the shitty feelings.
Stimuli response.
Oh, and it's because you don't want to feel the shitty feelings, but they take 8 seconds. You are afraid of a feeling. Feel the feeling, 8 seconds, and you acknowledge the feeling. Say, oh shit, I feel guilty, I feel anger, I feel shame, and you feel it fully. how I've lost so much weight, I think. It's just feeling my feelings fully and recognizing why they're there, and I love the movie Inside Out, if you haven't seen it, have you seen Inside Out? It's like I think it's a Pixar movie, but it's like their emotions and
Oh,
behind their
yes,
head.
I have seen
Yes,
that,
yes,
yes.
yes. Okay, so I just kind of personify my emotions to make it feel a little better, so I've got my
What
own
color
little
are you?
anger.
What color are you?
Well, I'm aura red. I'm a red lady.
Okay.
Kind of red orange, you know. But yeah, I just personify some of my emotions a bit, and that helps me feel them fully and not be so afraid of them and welcome them because they're there for a reason. They are energy and motion. They demand to be felt, and if you won't feel them, you'll numb them, and you will destroy your life numbing shit. You know, I've learned that. I've seen it, experienced it, been there, been next to the devil himself. So I just know not to be there. You know, anything to avoid reality, big time. And I live in reality. Man, it's hard. I don't want to sometimes either. Sometimes I wish I wasn't this aware. You know, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. But there is nothing compared to the bliss that God gives you.
Mm.
I do. I call myself an angry bee. I am. I call her Inferno. She's just
Mm.
this fire woman, man. And she is just mad, mad, mad. And she comes through. I have my days, I have my moments for sure. I am not always this peaceful, happy go lucky person. And Michael has seen that. My business partner has seen that. My closest friends have seen it. It's very rare, but she comes through, man. I have my bad days, but I just know the bigger picture. I know that I try to see it from my 80, 100-year perspective that this little part doesn't last forever because it also felt like when I was 10, all of that was going to last forever. Look where I'm
It
at now.
it's an emotion that gets a response for sure. If you're kind with someone and you're patient, and then you go and you be an a-hole, you get a response a lot quicker. Why is that?
Big time.
Why
I
is
think
that?
that so I think it has something to kind of pretty much do with like quantum karma is what I call it. So
Quantum karma, okay?
it's something I just call it. It's kind of like the shorter or the smaller the infraction, the faster the karma. So if you just toss some trash out the window, now you're going to hit every red light, and it's going to test your patience because you just littered, you know.
Okay.
And when you do really big karma, like f around on someone, and you do the drugs and you do the bad things, it's going to take longer for that to be seen because they're testing you on, are you going to stand up and do it for yourself? Are you going to learn the lesson? And we're going to drag out the lesson until you learn it. Yeah, I sure did, John. I think I was attracted to the tattoo industry because of the pirate hood. It's like they're getting tattoos and they're doing whatever they want. It's sort of a middle finger to the man for working. I'm just going to do art. I was an artist all growing up. Art saved my life.
Yeah,
So
Johnny,
it's
you kind of popped in late, man, but you missed a huge part of Casey's testimony in her childhood growing up, and um,
feel free to replay later.
yeah, selling drugs for her dad on behalf of her dad at 4, 5, 6 years old, and
Mhm.
going into houses that she shouldn't have been in and neighborhoods,
Oh,
and
that's tough.
um, yeah,
Definitely had it tough, but like my life is so blessed now, and it's why I want to be so loud about my blessings too, is because I want to show people what's possible, and it's so possible to go from here to here. So of course I'm getting a lot of backlash, like, "Wow, it's just so lucky. You're just so lucky." I'm like, "Yeah, you haven't known me long, have you? Spend 1 hour with me, you'll change your mind."
yeah.
you know,
I am going to take you up on that offer of coming in and getting doing a session with you.
please.
I hope you do that. I would like to
Yes,
schedule
yes,
that
yes,
the
yes,
very
yes,
next
yes,
time
yes.
we talk, if that's okay.
Yes, we will.
I think I'm gonna scoot out and go grab Lan. You opened us up. You want to close us out?
I don't even know. Oh gosh, I'm scared. Why did I get scared?
I
I
just
just
want to say, thank you so much for your time, and I love you, my dear friend, and Michael. And I'm very excited to the day I get to meet him and Serenity in person. And
mhm.
just thank you for all that we have done and what's to come, and all that you do and that you bring to the people that you serve and to the universe. And I believe that it is divine alignment.
Mm. Gosh, yeah, I'm just so
Thank
grateful
you.
for this I'm just grateful for our conversations and how it's so wild to think of how this started. We were just Facebook messaging, and it's just like, "Hey, man, what's up? I haven't seen you in 10 years.
What up?
What up?" And
What
this is where
up?
we're at now. And this is where we're at now, and we're helping others, and we're sharing vulnerable stories, and I'm just hoping that it can resonate and help people recognize what's possible and that we have a lot of limiting people in our life, but sometimes it's mostly us limiting
Mm,
ourselves.
mm.
All
Mic
deep.
drop. Boom.
Bow. You are so powerful. You have so much power. That's what they don't want you to know. That's what every system in place is to make sure you don't know it. Just get right with moving, moving with spirit and just moving with intuition, and it'll lead you to the right place. I promise, I promise, I promise.
Yes. All right. Close us out in prayer, dear.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Father Spirit and Mother Earth, for letting us be alive and able-bodied,
Thank you,
able to
God.
speak, hear, see, and taste and smell, and just
Thank you,
be able to
Jesus.
communicate through time and space through here, taking in all this reality,
Thank you,
taking
Holy
in all
Spirit.
these stories, taking in all of our experiences and putting them into a purpose. It is so divine. Your magic is so beyond our comprehension, and I am so grateful for all of the things that you are always doing behind the scenes for everything and everyone. And I just hope and pray that you just continue to give us this magic and continue to give us this love and awareness and keep us safe and keep our families safe and just let your word flow through, let your will flow through. And we hope to just serve you in our highest good, in our highest alignment. I just ask that you keep us there with you, keep us by your side, please. Don't ever leave us. Love you. All of this I ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you, my dear friend. I hope you have a badass rest of your day. Talk to you soon.
Yes. I'll see you
Mwah.
later, my friend. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye, Johnny.